So, on a scale of I'm fine to having a normal one, how would you say you are right now? I'm saying Jack Campbell for Vesna, partner? Please be good. This man has dogs.
Hi, kids.
Victorious puppies.
This team is ruining my life.
Why do I watch hockey? Stress relief. We can, and we will.
All right, how do we want to handle this one, huh?
Leafs lose 5-3 to the New York Rangers. Now, last night I was at the Conn Smythe dinner that is in support of Easter Seals. It was a charity event. It was a gala. Got to hang out with friends. It was wonderful. And all the while a Leaf game was going on that I actively chose to ignore so that I could have a good time. Turns out it was a very good decision. I made a good one. Now this is difficult. I gotta go to Sportsnet later today. We gotta do a Facebook Live about the Leafs. This was scheduled before the trade, so perfect. Otherwise, I would make this LFR video and a reaction to the trade. Instead, since I didn't see the game, I saw the highlights, I'll talk very briefly about the game and then the trade that resulted directly from the results of this game and the rest of the season, frankly. So, looking at all 4 goals that Michael Hutchison allowed, there was the one empty netter. Hey, what do you blame him on? I think only one was his fault, was something I was reading from a bunch of people. Dude, stop it. Michael Hutchison has given up 3 goals or more in a period in 9 of his 15 appearances this season. All right, there's one fact. That's a fact. Numbers. Hard fact. Can't deny it. Here's another one. The Leafs defense isn't good enough. And recently on the podcast, I talked about how the Leafs were sort of diminishing a weakened asset. They're cap-strapped. They knew they were going to have a league minimum goalie heading into the season. And the reason Mike Babcock was out of his mind playing Michael Hutchison on the second half of a back-to-back every time. Why are you doing that? This guy's not making league minimum out of the kindness of his heart. That's all he could get! And you're doing that to him? Sheldon Keefe, who uses thoughts and stuff, decided, hey, that's a bad idea, so I'm going to try to optimize Michael Hutchison and I'm going to play him against soft targets, etc., etc. And that was smart. But another way you can help shelter an asset is by playing better defense in front of them or assembling a better D-core, which is on Dubas. Here's the thing. In the regular season, which we're still in, and the Leafs are fighting tooth and nail to get into a playoff spot, you can play Hutch against Detroit. You can play him against the Devils. He's played against the Devils recently. You can play him against the Islanders, who are good, but have trouble scoring. You can play him against the Sens. Let's say the Leafs make the playoffs and Freddie Anderson gets hurt. Can you play him against the Tampa Bay Lightning 4 to 7 times? A lot more likely 4. Because they got swept last year. No! They'll kill the Leafs! The playoffs have no soft targets and even less sympathy! First goal was a great pass and play by the Rangers. Fine. The Zibanejad shot. Oh, he couldn't see it. Find a way! The Kreider shot. Oh, it's Chris Kreider and he barreled in and maybe they couldn't. Man! The 4th one, he fell down and hurt himself. My heart breaks for Michael Hutchison. This sucks. He was so clearly jacked to become a Leaf last year. He was jacked to do it. And you look at early in his career, when he was with the Jets, he was this up-and-comer, and then he comes into the lineup and he's good. What's going on? Oh my God. Dude, it's not here. It's not here. It's not here. Oh, so what? Jack Campbell's the answer? I don't know what the answer is, but I do know what the answer isn't. And heck, looking at how that 4th goal went in, this move might have been made out of necessity. For all we know, at the time I'm making this video, Hutch could be hurt. There's lots to like about this team, dude. John Tavares has scored in 2 straight games. I suppose nobody's going to mention that. Austin Matthews carrying the load again with another pair of goals. It's such a shame Ovechkin's in this league. Matthews can still realistically chase 60 and still probably won't win the Rocket. But in this one, Shesterkin was better than Hutchison. That's what it is, man. Oh, but this, but that. Tell it to someone who cares. There's another game Friday, there's another one Saturday. That's the reality of this season. Last night at the event I was at, Pinball Clemens was speaking, and he was not referring to the Leafs, but I'm gonna take what he said and apply it to this anyway. Excuses are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. And none of them look good. I was later informed that the saying was not originally belly buttons, it was something else. Let me give you a sec, yeah. Stop pucks or don't, win hockey games or don't. That's how it works. It's cruel. That's how it is. Now, don't everyone go bad-mouthing Michael Hutchinson because he's still a Leaf. There is this. This coming from Cap Friendly because of course it is. We'd be lost in the wilderness without them. If the Leafs assign Michael Hutchinson to the minors, the trade will result in the same amount of cap hit coming in as going out. Acquired. Campbell, $675,000, and Clifford with 50% retained, $800,000 equals $1.475 million. Traded Trevor Moore, who we will get to by the way, $775,000, and if they assign Hutchinson $700,000, which they can bury, $4.75. Steve, you want to try that again? $1.475. There we go. So to me, until Freddie gets back, and we haven't had an update at the time I'm shooting this, so we have no idea when he's coming back. But that seems a little too on the nose to be a coincidence. That feels intentional. So maybe Freddie's coming back sooner than we think, and now Jack Campbell is his backup, and Michael Hutchinson and Casimir Kaskisuo are now in the Marlies. So let's talk a little bit about the trade then. Actually, we should probably nail down exactly what the trade was. The Toronto Maple Leafs have acquired goaltender Jack Campbell and forward Kyle Clifford from the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for forward Trevor Moore, Columbus's third-round pick in 2020, and a conditional third-round pick in 2021. Very important detail, via Hockey Ops, the conditions on the 2021 third. It can move up to Toronto's second-round pick if they re-sign Clifford or if they make the playoffs and Campbell wins 6 regular season games. So last night I gave my initial thought. Now that we know all the details, when it comes to the picks, it's expensive. Like, Campbell could win 6 games and the Leafs could still miss the playoffs, which would be a very bad time. Clifford could resign and he better be bloody good. So it sounds like the Leafs made this trade with every intention of this being a second-round pick. They hope it is. They hope it is. You hope it is too. Because if it's not, that means they sucked and missed the playoffs. So to me, the trade is essentially Jack Campbell and Kyle Clifford, half retained, yeah, in exchange for Trevor Moore, a third and a second. Jack Campbell better be good, and Kyle Clifford better be good. LA Kings fans, I can't offer you this. You'll like Trevor Moore. You will. Trevor Moore does not have the size of the stereotypical LA Kings, but the stereotypical LA Kings are in the toilets right now. Trevor Moore has tenacity. He is annoying. Mike Babcock was always commenting about his giant ass. He is very fast. He has a nose for the net, and he can bang in some goals. Ultimately, he is a cheap, affordable fourth liner who can fill in on the third line, and on the Kings I bet he will. Can he play higher in the lineup like first or second line? Yes, we've seen it. It wasn't necessarily great. In a depth role, you just fire him out of a cannon every shift. These nice short shifts, you don't play him too much. He's good. I like him. Pour one out for Mike Stevens. I'm sorry, homie. One cool thing for Trevor Moore, and maybe for you, I don't know, he's from Thousand Oaks, California, so California boy going home to his Californian team. And in terms of potential, he's a bit of a late bloomer player, won the Calder Cup in 2018. He's gonna be 25 at the end of March, so how much room does he have to grow, really? Some, but like, this is basically what he is. He inexplicably flattened Zdeno Chara once. It was great. I can't help but feel like this trade wouldn't have happened if Trevor Moore kept his spot in the lineup all season, but he lost it due to injury, I believe a concussion. And if you're a Leafs fan, dude, we've been talking about Andreas Johnsson, Kasperi Kapanen, Alex Kerfoot, all these guys going out of the lineup to address this issue, and you lose Trevor Moore, who hasn't played most of the season anyway. Like, not to be immediately dismissive of a player, I was just gassing up, but the Leafs can't afford to lose him. They can. And in a video that is on Sportsnet's YouTube channel, Elliot Friedman did a hit, and he excellently pointed out, hey, okay, they got some size and snarl in Kyle Clifford, they got another backup goaltender in Jack Campbell, please work, and now Johnsson, Kerfoot, Kapanen, they're all still there, so you can keep your offense the special way that it is, or you could potentially use one, maybe more of those guys to address the defensive problem as well. And now the podcast jinx in the worst way. Cody Ceci left the game with, I want to say, about 6 or 7 minutes to go against the Rangers, so the Leafs might be down a man. And before you go celebrating and everything, first of all, that's a jerk thing to do. Second of all, who's he going to be replaced by? Marincin? It's still not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough. A little bit about Jack Campbell. Former 11th overall pick to the Dallas Stars. He played for the American World Junior team. I remember, I was there. there in Saskatchewan when John Carlson scored the overtime winner. Jack Campbell was on that team and I hated it. Very, very late bloomer, but last year he had an excellent season. People are rightly pointing out that he only has a .900 save percentage this year. Well, that's better than Jonathan Quick, and look at the success that Ilya Kovalchuk is having in Montreal. I'm thinking the Kings are just sort of poisoned a little bit. Kyle Dubas acquired Jack Campbell back when he was in the Sioux. People talk about that. I don't know how relevant that is to how good of a goalie Jack Campbell is. All it is Kyle Dubas can vouch that he is not a serial killer. This also applies to Kyle Clifford because in Dubas's agent days, Clifford was his first client. I already said I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the answer isn't. It's time for Jack Campbell right away to prove that he's the answer. That doesn't mean posting a 50 save shutout in a win, it just means being better, for crying out loud. As for Kyle Clifford, we gotta stop talking about him like he's just a pair of fists. He will chuck him. He went with the far larger Jared Tenorti most recently, and he held his own. He did pretty good. In 53 games this season, he has 6 goals and 8 assists for 14 points, which is, I mean, it's roughly what Trevor Moore was on pace for. Difference being, Kyle Clifford is obviously older, but he's been there. He's been on deep playoff runs. He's won the Stanley Cup. He's 6'2". He's 2'11". So they get another fourth liner, but he's a different kind of fourth liner. He is sort of what the Leafs lack, really. So yeah, the deal was kind of expensive. Yes, I'm going to miss Trevor Moore, but in one fell swoop, the Leafs address one issue for sure, which is size, and potentially the backup goalie position. If I'm Kyle Dubas, though, this morning, after that trade, it's either my thumb goes down to the bone or the screen breaks, though. You still need another D. Does Jack Campbell have any idea what he's gotten himself into with the fan media scrutiny that backup goalies receive in Toronto? Here's a better question. When is hockey going to stop being such a loser sport? How about that? How about that? Like, oh, there's pressure here. Oh, sorry about that. There's pressure in the NBA. There's pressure in the NFL. The NFL, for crying out loud. There's pressure in soccer. There's pressure in every sport. Like, until they move a team to Moose Factory, Ontario, it's always going to be an issue. Play to win. Canucks have a decent goaltending situation. Not exactly the kindest media market. Montreal, Carey Price. Boston? Stay off Twitter, play video games, stop pucks. That's it. Did the trade come at the perfect time because it felt like earlier in the season when fans weren't excited to watch the next game and had lost hope in a way? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Did Muzzin staying have anything to do with that trade? You see? You see? I like that. There's absolutely no basis for what you said, but you're extrapolating, and to me, I'm just gonna choose to assume that Muzzin is staying for the rest of his career at League Min. Best Trevor Moore moment. Ooh, it's weird. The Zdeno Chara hit should be it, but it wasn't on account of no one seemed to catch it live. It was all afterward on Twitter. I want to say that was from Game 1 of the Boston series last year. There was obviously the Calder Cup win in the AHL. That was cool. I was at Game 3 last year. That was the game where Mitch Marner like used his face to block a shot. Trevor Moore scored a goal in that game, and it was Trevor Moore in a nutshell. Just go to the net and be annoying. So to me, that was it. Can you blame Hutch on any of those? Yep. Goalies allow goals. That happens sometimes. So you don't got to be perfect, but you got to be better than that. Sorry. What's your go-to Desert Island album? Either Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar or Cause I Love You by Lizzo. Or aggressively shifting gears, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not by the Arctic Monkeys. How excited are you to come back to Ryerson next week? I'm just reading this verbatim. Also, how do you feel about this trade? I feel the same way about this trade that I do about Ryerson. Excited. That's Monday, by the way, Ryerson. And a little bit of King's perspective on the trade. It goes without saying, but it's a business. Cliffy, thanks. The Colonel, 2 cups. Heart and soul of the team for so long. Soupy, thanks. That's 3 nicknames already, Patrick. Such a great dude and teammate. Sick goalie. Oh wait, Soupy is Campbell. I get it. Wish you guys massive success. Welcome to the Kings, Mr. Moore. And also this, as an avid Kings fan, I loved having Cliffy as part of the team all these years. A big part of our 2 Stanley Cups. What incredible heart. Sad to see him and Jack go. The Maple Leafs are lucky to have them. And this, of course, from Kyle Clifford himself. Unbelievable 10 years. Can't even put into words. Love you all. Thank you, LA Kings. You will always be my home away from home. But look at that logo right away. Kyle Clifford, Toronto Maple Leaf. And there he is right in there with Jake Muzzin, noted Stanley Cup champion. Now, it's time to get to work. What do you think of this trade? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. That's where comments go. I want to know what you think. So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe. If you really liked it, tell all your friends to charge your phone there, Kyle. Keep her going.